Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the new refreshed Amazon HD10 tablet. This is an upgrade over the prior edition that runs a bit faster actually, and was something that I was quite pleased with before, and now it is better, and it's not all that expensive either. So we're going to be taking a closer look at this in just a second, but I do want to let you know in the interest of full disclosure that I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get to it now and see what this new tablet is all about. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. This is $149 for the 32 gigabyte version. For that price, though, you're going to be getting ads on the lock screen like this. So I've seen a bunch of different ads, some from Amazon. They were trying to sell me an Acura earlier as well. So these will kind of rotate as you go. But that is generally the only invasive thing that you'll see. If you don't want ads, the tablet costs $165 with that 32 gigabyte capacity. They have a 64 gig available for $189. That again is with the ads. And then there's an option to buy one without ads for about $205. So if you don't want the ads, you can pay a little bit more. If you don't mind that lock screen showing up every once in a while, I think it's probably just fine. Now the overall look and feel of this is exactly the same as the prior edition. It's got a nice weight to it. It is 1.1 pounds. That is about 503 grams. The screen is glass, it looks like, or feels like, but the back is a lightweight plastic, so it feels a little nicer on the front versus the back. The screen, as you can see here, picks up a lot of fingerprints, but it looks really nice for a budget device. You've got a 10.1-inch IPS display. This is running at 1900 by 1200, which is the same that the prior edition was running at. Things are really super sharp. It's nice and bright. It looks fairly close to what you would get on the entry-level iPad, which costs a lot more. So it's a really, really nice display to look at and read on. I've been very pleased with it. The one issue, though, of course, is that this is a 16:9 aspect ratio, so it's a little bit narrow when you've got it in portrait mode like this. So some websites may not look as nice on here given that versus what you might see with an iPad, which has a more square display. Now the processor inside is the big story of this one. It's got a MediaTek MT8183 processor. That is an octa-core. It's got 4 A73 cores and 4 A53 cores. And as you'll see in a few minutes, the performance on this one is quite improved over the last one. And I was happy with the performance on the old ones. This is a nice step up in processor performance. It only has, though, 2 gigabytes of RAM, which for a tablet like this is not a big deal, but you might notice some slowness when you're doing a lot of multitasking and that sort of thing. Now, it does have stereo speakers, but they're located on only one side of the device. So if I've got it set up like so right now, where the speakers are on the bottom, I'll get pretty decent stereo separation here, but if I move it into a portrait mode, sound is only going to come out of one side of the device, and that's one of the little sacrifices you make when you buy a budget device like this one. It does, though, have a headphone jack here at the top. It also supports Bluetooth audio, so you do have some other options for sound if you don't like the internal speakers. There isn't much else for ports on it. You do have that headphone jack, as we mentioned. You have a USB Type-C port here. But this is just a regular USB port in operation. So it's not charging any faster than prior tablets did. It's still a 5-volt, 2-amp maximum going in. It doesn't support video output, so you can't plug in a dock and get all this other stuff going with it. However, you can plug USB devices in directly if you've got a USB-C memory stick, for example, or with an adapter for hard drives and other devices. So it functionally is the same as before, but it is nice to start seeing USB-C popping up in more places. You got a volume rocker over here and your standby power switch on that side. And again, you'll get some ads on this one when you power it back up. Nothing on this side here. And then over here is an SD card slot, so you can pop in additional storage. It'll take up to a 512 gigabyte micro SD card. It'll secure itself inside the slot, and then you can secure it further with this little door here to keep it in place. And this is very useful because Amazon Prime Video and Netflix allow you to download things to the SD card to watch offline. and that can be very helpful if you get a long flight or something like that coming up. The camera system on here is not spectacular. You do, though, have two 2-megapixel cameras. They've improved the front camera slightly, but it's still not great. So this one's now 2 megapixel. I think before it was just like the VGA resolution, 640p or something, 480p, excuse me. The rear camera is also a 2-megapixel shooter. Again, nothing spectacular out of this. The images are not great, but they're adequate for taking a quick photo every once in a while. So that is the overall hardware. Let's take a look now and see how it performs. So performance on this one is definitely improved over the prior edition. We're just going to browse the nasa.gov homepage here, and you can see things are springing up very, very quickly on it. It supports wireless AC, so you've got decent Wi-Fi potential with this as well. And overall, I was pleased with just how fast everything feels on this. It really feels like a more expensive device than it is. So for basic things like web browsing, you should be fine. Netflix and Amazon Prime Video are also available on this. This comes up very quickly as well. I've been overall just pleased with just how snappy and responsive everything is as I'm working through the device here. So you even get some of this picture-in-picture stuff that you get on the iPads as well. So all in, I think a nice overall performer, again, for doing the basics like watching web video and browsing the web. There's also a lot of apps available for this, but it's important to note that although this tablet is running Android, you don't get the Google Play Store. Amazon has their own app store that they use, so if you bought an app on Google Play, that app will have to be repurchased on this. Now, there are ways that you can hack the device and put Google Play on it, but it's not easy for general consumers to go through all of that. So you can look up some methods of doing the Google Play shoehorn on this, which will certainly add more value and apps to the mix. But generally, most of the apps you'll find on Google Play, at least the popular ones, are also available here on the Amazon side of things. Now, as an Amazon device, this will function essentially as an Amazon Echo, so you can issue the A-word commands to it. We're going to mute out the A words so I don't set off your devices at home, and I can do something like this. Tell me the weather in New York City today.
In New York, it's 67 degrees Fahrenheit with showers.
So as you see there, it booted itself up, or at least woke itself up from sleep. It was able to address my voice command and then give me a visual response like I would see with an Echo Show device, for example. And it's got a nice big screen that's larger than the Echo Show. So this can kind of double as an Echo and as a tablet, depending on what your needs are at that moment. You can also do all the home control stuff as well. So I can say, show me the backyard camera. And this, of course, will integrate with my Blink security system that we reviewed a few weeks ago, and it will now pull up the camera in the backyard. And depending on how fast your security system is, you'll get the video playing here at varying degrees of speed. But it looks like a pretty lousy day out there. I'm just going to stay here in the basement, I think, and just continue on with my day. But you can see how this could be really useful if you are using a lot of those Echo devices. And with a nice big 10-inch screen, you can get yourself an Echo Show. There's one more mode to show you. Let's check that out. Now, if you prefer this to be an Amazon Echo first and a tablet second, you have that option. So what you can do here is pull down this menu from the top of the screen, and there's going to be an option here for show mode. And when you turn that on, it will turn this device effectively into an Amazon Echo Show. My advice would be to have it plugged in all the time when you're running it like this, because I believe the display stays on all the time, just like the Echo Show does. And then you can issue your voice commands to it and never have to touch the tablet at all. Now, if you decide that you want to go back and use it as a tablet, you can then just switch that mode off and it will bring you back into your tablet interface. So they give you some options depending on what priority you want to give to the device. If you want it to be mostly a tablet and occasionally an Echo, you can just issue a voice command to it and do minimal voice commands, or flip it and have it be an occasional tablet and a primary Echo Show device. The choice is yours, and it's nice to see them integrating some of their other products into this one, and I think it makes it a very useful tablet as a result. Now, as I mentioned a little earlier, performance on the new tablet is better than the old one, and I was happy with the performance before. This one is running nicer. It's got Again, that upgraded octa-core processor, which is delivering smoother gameplay in Minecraft here, for example. It really feels nice and smooth, and I think if you've got kids that are playing a lot of these mobile games, they will be quite happy with what they're going to get out of this from a performance standpoint. We also took a look at some game emulation. Let's load up the PPSSPP emulator and see how it does with that. So this emulator is emulating the Sony PSP, which was Sony's original handheld device, and this is one of the more challenging emulators on the Android platform. It's running pretty nice. It's not completely full speed, so I'm detecting some lag here and there, and the audio is jumping around a little bit, but it's largely playable, and I wasn't expecting it to run this nicely on a device at around this price point. So they've definitely made some nice strides here with the CPU they chose to put inside of it. Again, not perfect here at the PSP, but I think if you're doing other 80s and 90s consoles, it should run pretty nicely. This will also do very well with in-home game streaming, so if you're doing that with your gaming PC, that should work pretty nicely. So there's a lot of useful things from a gaming standpoint that you can do with this. And I was most impressed with its benchmark scores. So we ran the 3D Mark Slingshot Benchmark. We compared it to last year's model, and as you can see here, we're coming in more than twice as fast on that particular benchmark. Everything is running faster. Amazon said this was only a 30% increase, but here we are more than doubling our performance. So that was great, a score of 1,608 here versus 670 on the original. You can also see where the 7-inch tablet is, the one that just came out. That one is much lower at 239. But as a comparison point, you can see the iPad 7th generation, which is the entry-level iPad. That one scores much higher. So from a gaming perspective, the iPad is probably going to be better in the long run, and developers will probably be targeting that higher-end hardware. But the iPad also, at this moment, costs twice as much as this tablet does. And for a budget offering, I think the performance on this is very, very good and something that casual Android gamers will enjoy. Some of those Android games you'll have to maybe buy again or shoehorn that Google Play Store on, but overall, very nice performance here for a $150 tablet. Now, Amazon is touting improved battery life on this tablet. They're saying you'll get about 12 hours of usage out of it, and I would agree with that assessment provided you have the display brightness turned down a bit and you're not doing anything all that taxing. If we were running that PSP emulator, you're not going to get 12 hours out of it given the load it puts on the processor, but I think a lot of casual tasks like web browsing and doing some Netflix or Amazon Prime Video watching or whatever, that stuff shouldn't impact things too significantly, and I think you'll probably get north of 10 hours of straight usage, again with minimal activity and the screen brightness down, but overall a very good battery performer here and something that's in line with more expensive tablets like the iPad. So overall, this is a pretty good deal, I think. It's not going to be spectacular from its overall physical design with the plastic backing here and these huge bezels, but it does its core tasks quite well, and the performance boost here is noticeable. The display looks fantastic. I think it's probably the nicest display I've seen on a sub-$200 tablet, and overall, I am quite happy with what they are offering consumers for a very reasonable price. This one also comes with a longer warranty than their smaller tablets. That 7-inch only comes with a 90-day warranty. This one's good for a year. So it's just a good deal and something worth considering. Just remember the lower priced version will give you advertisements when you boot it up, but generally it's not all that invasive. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters, the 4 Guys with Quarters podcast, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Brian Parker, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.